Hello, good people of the internet, and welcome to the second episode of the No Signal Show.
Good evening.
No Signal Show is the internet's best place where you can find two dudes sitting on a couch, drinking beer, and talking about tech news.
The best place.
The absolute best place.
Well, how about that?
If you know of a better place in the internet where two dudes are sitting on a couch and drinking beer and talking tech, and they've had a recent episode, put it in the comments.
Yeah, please let us know. All right, sure. Well, let's just get into some stuff then, shall we?
We shall.
So I came across this fun little story of some crazy dude who decided to make his own smartwatch. So
Just like that.
yeah, apparently, he didn't like the look of any of the other ones that you can buy with money instead of slaving over to create for yourself. And he legit made a functioning smartwatch and has written all about it. So
Just one.
yeah,
Just one. Not a line of watches.
It's a one-of-a-kind item.
Okay.
And it's not too crazy when you consider this guy is apparently an electrical engineer and makes this kind of stuff from time to time. I get the impression. So it's sort of
made out of wood.
Well, it looks like it's made out of wood. It's made out of, I guess you'd have to read it in complete detail, but I think he's mentioned that there's a printing process that uses something that's about 70% plastic and 30% sawdust. So, yeah.
That's interesting. So it's running Android or something, right? Has to. It's not he didn't make the operating system as well.
Honestly, there is so much information here. I didn't actually get to that bit. I am curious though. I think there was some mention of having to set something up for Apple. So, I don't know, maybe.
Apple.
Yeah. It's so cool.
Okay, and it's got a circular display and everything.
Yeah. He mentions he's just not into, square or rectangular watches because they look too sci-fi or like stuff from the 80s. Yeah.
I remember the circular display being a thing that was hard to do back in the day. I don't know if it's hard to do now, but it shouldn't be. I mean, come on. But essentially you get because display technology, everything's rectangular.
Yeah.
So you gotta
typically
ignore or cut off a section.
Yeah.
And I remember there was this smartwatch that had like a weird angle, it was LG or something. It was like almost a circle, but it had a bar at the bottom.
Motorola.
That's the one.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah. And that was like, still they couldn't get a full circle or something.
Pretty sure the Samsung ones are circular.
I haven't been up to date with
Yeah.
anything non-Apple Watch
Yeah.
lately, but yeah.
Yeah, this one here, this is 4 years old or something, so try not to be in the market for a new one. Yeah. Going strong. Anyway, that's kind of all I have to say about that. Maybe, check out the link for yourself because there's a shitload of, images.
Yeah, it looks cool. Once in a while,
he's open source.
Every now and again, you see like a project like this. Like someone makes a smartwatch in his garage, or someone makes a self-driving car. I remember a story like that, and then you never hear of it again, and you're like, what happened? What happened with that project?
Well, I guess
is it just purely for him, or does he have ambitions to launch it to?
He says he's gonna create some more blog posts and stuff. So he'll probably just be sharing his knowledge and he's got a hell of a reception on Reddit. So people are interested in this. I don't know. You tell me. Is this interesting?
Yeah, if you find this interesting, please let us know in the comments.
Please, God, let us know.
This story is about a show that you do not watch.
Oh dear, yes.
It's called Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
It's the biggest show in the world.
So I hear.
Literally every single episode has like a full-on feature film budget. You should watch it. But anyways, the story is about the last week episode of Game of Thrones, it was too dark. Everybody on the internet said that it was too dark.
What do you mean by too dark?
It was just too dark. You couldn't see shit.
Like too much murder. You mean literally you couldn't see?
It was literally too dark.
Wow.
As in light.
Okay.
So basically, here's a screenshot from the TV show. Can you see something?
No, that's just a black rectangle
of the largest army ever assembled.
It's quite dense. It really, there's no empty space there.
And this whole thing has a story behind it.
Right.
Game of Thrones is known to do things in a realistic way, I guess. When they shoot the show, they try to not use as many green screens and things like that, and they try to portray everything realistically. Like when they have a fire, it's an actual fire. When they have a little dragon flying, it's an actual little dragon flying. And basically,
nice.
They messed up this time. And according to the cinematographer, it wasn't because he shot the whole episode in pitch dark. It was because of compression.
Oh, so they came out and said this was not right? Like,
yeah, basically what they had on their TVs in their studios, in their fancy studios with the calibrated monitors, they saw the real thing. They saw everyone who got killed. They saw the whole battle. But we didn't. Millions of people didn't see what happened. And that was because of compression.
Okay.
Long story short, compression happens in streaming video. So if you go and buy a Blu-ray video of this episode, it'll probably look all right.
Yeah, so of course, like these days, everyone is streaming or watching a compressed version, one way or another.
Or even if they're downloading the episode, it's probably a streamed, compressed episode.
Yeah.
So because the episode was compressed and streamed to millions of people, that introduces a lot of artifacts in the video. So even if you're watching like a full dark shot of the largest army ever assembled, you start noticing pixels, and it's called banding.
So,
and there's a whole science behind it, and basically color doesn't go well with low light and streaming.
And the largest army ever assembled.
And the largest
that's
army
what I'm
ever
hearing.
assembled. Yeah.
So, but I mean, this show's been around for forever. So how come they hadn't had this problem before?
Well, the show was called The Longest Night. The episode was called The Longest Night, and it was nighttime.
Yeah.
And there were large armies, and there was fog.
I reckon this is
and it was cold.
This is probably the way it's supposed to be. They just wanted you to talk about how dark the episode was.
Yeah, I mean, it was realistic. People in the fight, in the battle, wouldn't probably see much because it was dark and it was a foggy night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. That's it. What do you got?
I thought this was a pretty fun story in a weird kind of way. I like the title. It's slightly nerdy, but former Google engineer reveals the secret YouTube plot to kill Internet Explorer 6. This sounds like some kind of like James Bond or, some kind of a heist situation. But the background is basically like, the story is around 10 years ago, there was this version of Internet Explorer that was apparently really hard for developers to work with. And it didn't have some of the features that these other ones did. And a bunch of renegade engineers at YouTube decided that they would take matters into their own hands and aggressively sort of encourage people who were on that browser to get off it, which basically just means putting a banner ad in the way, just being like, hey, you should consider upgrading. Not particularly aggressive, I suppose. But the interesting thing is that they did all this without any sort of management oversight. And I love these kind of stories because it's sort of like a certain time and place, right, in YouTube's history when they just recently been purchased by Google. This was like, I think they did that in 2006.
Yeah.
Or some time around that. And this happened in like...
wasn't around in 2006. Was it?
Pretty sure it was. Yeah.
YouTube? Were you around in 2006?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, they were definitely bought by Google sometime around then, and apparently the engineers that did this were like some of the OGs, and they had special privileges because sort of Google's like management hadn't quite like smoothed everything out. So they had the ability to make changes to the site that no one else would sort of notice. And so they slipped in this kind of this banner ad that says, well, we'll be phasing out support for your browser soon. Please upgrade to one of these others. It's a friendly message. It's informative. People are gonna, click on one of those things and end up with a better browser. So really everyone wins. Side note, how old does this site look?
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm just looking at the screenshot
So
and I'm
good.
like, is this what YouTube looked like?
Yeah, and
That's crazy.
and the fashion of the time as well. Anyway, it worked. Apparently they scared the crap out of like some lawyers that worked there because they were concerned about like promoting Chrome in particular, but they were clever enough to make it sort of rotate, so they wouldn't get in trouble there. And apparently somebody else, I think it was Google Docs, decided to follow this. Some other like disgruntled engineers over there had the same kind of reaction. They were inspired, and so they did it as well. And I think people noticed that more. And these guys, according to this story, these guys kind of got away with it.
Yeah. I mean, Internet Explorer, it's like one of the darkest stories in the history of the internet.
Darkest stories.
Yes.
Is there a story behind the story that I'm missing?
It is a bad browser.
Oh, well.
Always it was.
I mean, I think I speak for a lot of people when I say who cares, but...
I mean, you're an engineer, you're a developer, you know what it is. What I really liked, though, was this story from way back. There's this online retailer called Kogan.
I knew you were going to bring this up.
Yeah, I love it.
This is an Australian retailer.
An Australian Amazon-like retailer. And what they did was, if you went onto their website on Internet Explorer and you shop for things, it would add like a 10% surcharge and call it the Internet Explorer tax and justify it by saying, it takes us a long time to make the site compatible on Internet Explorer.
Yeah.
And if you're really that adamant on using Internet Explorer, they're honest. Like if you go on Chrome or Firefox or whatever, you don't have to pay the tax. But if you really want to buy things on Internet Explorer, you got to pay the 10% tax.
Yeah, that's right. I've forgotten the details of that.
It's a great story.
It's great. I mean, it seems a bit silly, but it does matter. So they apparently it was when YouTube did this, it was around about 18% usage, 18% of visitors were on that browser. And then that was like 2009, and in 2012 there was less than 1%.
Really?
Yeah. So they definitely had a hand in that, I would say, or at least that's what the story says. And that did. It sounds like it doesn't matter, but like moving on from an old browser that was it was stunting development a little bit, and now we have much more capable applications.
Yeah, I hear Edge is gonna use the Chromium engine. Have you heard about that? Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Well, as long as we're moving forward, that's the main thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Speaking of moving forward.
Moving forward to the next story. So, this is a story about AI and technology in general and where we're going as a society or as humans. So, this Japanese AI tech firm generated this artificial intelligence that Just look at
Yeah, I'm
these things.
looking at these
So
GIFs here. That's
it's like humans that morph
amazing.
into other humans. And what happens here is this artificial intelligence technology can generate a random human wearing random things with a random body, just like that.
Mm.
And they've released this crazy video of that.
Of it in
Exactly
action.
that. There's like tiles of humans that do not exist.
Yeah, that's
And it's just morphing one into the other. And it's just spooky and weird.
yeah, it's awesome. That's like an extension of the website that was going around recently, like a few weeks ago or something.
Yes.
Where you, this person does not exist.
It's called This
.com.
Person Does Not Exist. It's basically just a blank site with a giant photo in the middle. And every time you refresh it, it shows you a big ass photo of someone that does not exist.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they died or anything like that. It's just this person was generated by AI.
Yeah. But it's really cool
It's
because
so creepy.
this stuff is useful.
Like, this dude looks like a real dude, but
Sure.
he doesn't exist.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. It's useful. Sometimes you need access to faces for,
It is useful for
product
things
demos
like
and
that.
stuff
But
like that.
but think about, the other side of things.
Yeah. What are you
When
worried
people
about?
misuse this technology.
What's keeping you up at night?
Well,
Is it her?
Yeah, she does look spooky. At a certain point in time, and this is going to be very, very soon, it's just going to be really, really difficult to know what's true anymore. You look at photos that people share, you look at people, they can change the voices of people now, they can impersonate other people's voices and stuff. And it's just going to be really difficult to watch something on the internet or as a photo or maybe soon even in reality. And it's going to be really difficult to tell if it's real or not. That doesn't worry you.
Well, I don't know. I think it'd be really weird if it happened at scale, and it was actually a part of your mainstream life. But, like you see stuff on Facebook and stuff that's not real as well, so-called fake news. And, you pretty much, you can, I don't know, people of our generation you can smell it. You're like, oh, that's not real.
Would you be able to smell that? Smell that.
Well, actually, yes. So, I don't know if this particular one is what I'm talking about, but
They
often
all have little defects, but I'm sure that's going to go
there's
away.
artifacts all over the place. So, there's a site that actually had that and compared it to real people's faces, and you had to click on the one that was real, and it was actually really easy.
But that's going to improve.
Yeah.
It's going to get more real and real.
Sure. But, people, every time one of these things comes out, people will talk about this. This is creepy, it's gone too far. So, I mean, at least they're talking about it. Together we'll find the line.
Before I end the story, I want to share this tweet by Elon Musk. And he just basically replied to a tweet that showed this company called Boston Dynamics and what they managed to achieve within 10 years. So on one side, there's this robot like hooked up to all these wires and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he's barely walking. He's walking like a drunk person.
Still pretty impressive.
It is kind of impressive, but at that point, I remember when I saw that video, I'm like, really? Is that all that they can do? Like, you couldn't make this better? Like,
it looks kind of terrifying.
It's not even walking
even
straight.
In that form.
And then 10 years later, there's this Iron Man looking like...
it's doing parkour.
Yeah. Thing that just runs on top of blocks and has all these movements with the hands and the hips and everything. And that's just within 10 years. And this company is just putting out one scary robot after another. And I completely agree with Elon Musk when he replied to that tweet saying,
Yeah, right.
what else you got?
I did see this interesting story about how Spotify is apparently building interactive voice-driven ads. So they're just testing this idea right now, and apparently they've only got 2 like advertisers and 2 in the US as well, and it's only for people on their mobile phone. But apparently the deal is you're gonna hear an ad if you're not paying for premium.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's gonna prompt you to say something or you just say it, but you're supposed to say something like "play now," and if you say that, it'll like take you away from what you were listening and start playing this other thing.
Who's gonna say that?
Yeah. So
It's just so crazy.
I suspect. I mean, as this article also points out, like this may have a lot to do with the platforms that are just voice.
Yeah.
You know, like smart speakers and stuff.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Where honestly, like they're so driven to try and get more money out of people who are not paying for premium. So maybe there's been an increase in people using the speakers, and like the ads don't really work there because it's like you often see an image with it as well, or it's a video, and maybe they don't do them through the smart speakers, and they're looking for something else that you can actually like click on, and this is the click. That's my first thought, but at the same time I was like, surely nobody's gonna do this. Like
It's I mean, the whole thing, it just doesn't make sense.
like
the problem is not that people are not clicking on ads because it's difficult to click on an ad. The problem is that the ads are not worth it most of the time.
Yeah, and just talking into your phone anyway, voice command stuff is always a bit like you don't want to do it in public.
Yeah, it's just like you're in a bus and you're like, I really love this ad. Play now, play now.
Tell me more.
Not gonna happen.
Ugh.
Well, I think we're running out of time. So this is it for the second episode of the No Signal Show. We are your hosts, and we'll see you next time.
Sure. See ya.